Hey guys, today in this video we are going to learn how to upgrade the iOS in a Cisco switch. We are going to use Cisco packet tracer to perform the practical. I have a Cisco 2950 series switch here, and with the iOS version EA4.bin, and I'm going to upgrade it to EA8.bin version. I have listed down the steps that we are going to follow to perform this lab. So before we get started with the practical, let me take you through the steps briefly. So step 1, verify currently what Cisco iOS software you have in your switch and determine which new Cisco iOS you would need to upgrade the switch. So as I already mentioned, currently I have EA4.bin. This is the iOS version I have on my switch, and I'm going to upgrade it to this iOS version, EA8.bin. Step 2, have the new Cisco iOS software image ready on a TFTP server. So we are going to use a TFTP server, and in which we'll have the new iOS image that we are going to use to upgrade the switch. Step 3, ensure that the TFTP server has IP connectivity to the switch that you want to upgrade. So we'll make the connectivity from the switch to the TFTP server, and we'll verify the connectivity before we go ahead and perform the upgrade. Step 4, copy the Cisco iOS software image from TFTP server to the switch. So we'll perform this step in the practical. Then the step 5, that is the last step, is to boot the switch with the new Cisco iOS software image. So these are the steps we are going to follow during this practical. So let me get started with the practical now. So first of all, I need a server, TFTP server. Let me connect my TFTP server to the switch. So I need to access the switch as well to be able to perform the practical. So how am I going to access the switch? This is a lab environment. This is Cisco packet tracer. We can click on the switch and we can go to CLI and we can have access to the Cisco Switch iOS. However, in real scenario, on a physical device, we do not have the luxury of accessing the iOS this way. So we must have a laptop from which we need to access the iOS. So I'll be using a laptop here. I'll connect my laptop using a serial cable from the serial port of my laptop to the console port of the switch. So at this point, I should be able to access the iOS of the switch from the laptop. Let me try if I am able to access the iOS of the switch from the laptop. I'll be using this terminal. Here you go. So I'm able to access the switch from the laptop. So I'm going to verify a couple of things here. Show IP. So I'm checking if I already have IP address assigned to my switch. So I don't see any IP address assigned. So as I said earlier, we need to set up the basic network connectivity from the switch to the server. So to be able to communicate, I need to assign an IP address on the switch. So I'm going to assign an IP address on the VLAN interface of the switch. So I have assigned a IP address that is 192.168.1.10 with a default subnet mask, and I'm going to type in no shutdown. So as soon as I typed in no shutdown and then pressed enter, I can see the VLAN interface is coming up. So the next thing that I'm going to verify is what iOS software I have, what's iOS software currently I have in my switch. Show flash. With this command, with the show flash command, you can verify the current iOS version in your switch. So as you can see, I have this iOS version that ends with ea4.bin. As I mentioned earlier, this is the iOS version, and we are going to upgrade it to ea8.bin that I have it in my server. So let me complete the setup of basic network connectivity first. So I have the IP address assigned on my switch now. However, I need to assign an IP address in the server as well. So I'm going to assign an IP address on the server now. .192.168.1.20. I'll assign default subnet mask. So at this point, we have the, we should have the basic, connectivity setup. So to verify that, I'm going to ping from the server to the switch and see if I'm able to ping from the server to the switch. So we have the network connectivity setup between the switch and the server. Now I'm going to verify if I have the iOS that I want to upgrade in my switch available in my TFTP server or not. So as I mentioned earlier, we need ea8.bin, and we need to see if I have this iOS available in my TFTP server or not. Yes, I have this iOS ea8.bin. So we from this ea4.bin, from ea4.bin we are going to upgrade it to ea8.bin. So let me access the switch now and go ahead with the rest of the practical. So the next step is to copy the file from TFTP server, the iOS file from TFTP server to the switch. Copy TFTP flash. So when we type in copy TFTP flash, it will ask us the IP address of the TFTP server from which I'm going to copy the new iOS to this switch. So 192.168.1.20 is the IP address of my TFTP server. When I press enter, it is asking me the source file name, the file name of the iOS. So I'm going to copy this file and edit a little bit. So as I mentioned earlier, we need ea8 instead of ea4. We need ea8.bin. So currently we have ea4, and I'm going to copy ea8.bin from the TFTP server. So it's also asking me the destination file name, so we'll keep it as it is. So here you go, you can see that the file is copied from the TFTP server to the switch, and now I'm going to verify if I can see the TF new iOS in my switch or not. See, earlier we had only EA4 and now we can see EA8 as well. So now let me reload the switch and see if the switch is loading with the new iOS. See, the switch is loading, but it is still loading with the older iOS EA4.bin. So still we need to perform the last step as we mentioned earlier. Here, the fifth step: boot the switch with the new Cisco iOS software. So how are we going to do that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to boot the switch with the new iOS. Boot system, boot system with the new iOS. I'll copy the iOS file and press enter. So at this point, if I boot my switch again, it should boot up with the new iOS EA8. Let's try. Now we can see the switch is loading with the new iOS, that is EA8.bin. So this completes the iOS upgrade of your switch. So these are the simple steps that you follow to upgrade a Cisco Switch iOS. So this ends our practical. So I hope this has been informative for you. I would like to thank you for viewing.